All right, guys, so let's just dive into what we got coming up, maybe. On a beautiful ride. Hey, guys, welcome to this episode of Rolling with T-Bone. If you're new here, welcome in. My name's T-Bone. I shoot motorcycle-related content and any kind of content, really. If you are new here, I invite you to check out a few of my videos. If you think I'm right for you, consider giving us a subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. If you're old here, welcome back. You know what's going on. Let's dive into it. Alright, guys, welcome back to this episode of Rolling with T-Bone. As we are out on Big Papa. First time Big Papa's been rode in about 5 weeks. But of course I hit the switch, pulled the choke, and ready to go. Oh man, I'm ready for the deep thaw. I'm ready for the 70-degree days, 50-degree nights. I'm ready for spring. But anyway, I hope y'all are doing good. Welcome back. Doing a lot of research, guys. I have been reminded by one of our own Rolling with T-Bone crew there, the Recycled Hooligan, about the banana-shaped UFO in Alabama. Now, that leads me to my first question for you guys. I am very interested in ufology. I've talked about it before here on the channel. So would that be something y'all would be interested in? I'm going to be doing a couple episodes, test episodes, just to see how they do. Because just like the cryptids, the ufology stuff, it kind of excites me to dive down into it and uncover stuff and read about different things. But I hope it'd be something you guys would be interested in. Because the UFO stuff is about like the cryptid stuff. There's never a shortage. Man, that goes to, you know, both of those subjects go early back into the 20th century. You know, talking about ufology. Before Roswell, I guess the thing that had people's eyes turned to the skies is the old Orson Welles radio program where he did the War of the Worlds. And if you guys don't know what the War of the Worlds was, it was a radio broadcast back when radio was television. And Orson Welles and his Playhouse Theater had done a real life scenario that, you know, what would they do if aliens came to Earth? And of course they used Mars as their launching point. And it was an interrupted radio broadcast. It was actually pretty cool. I've listened to it two or three different times. And I guess that was what kind of got people's eyes turned toward the skies, watching what was going on, because there is a ufology case that actually goes back into the 1800s that has been documented a little bit. Now that case involved a windmill, and it was called the Windmill UFO. And it was in the late 1800s, mid to late 1800s. I don't have all of the facts on it, but I am going to cover it. But anyway, which was before radio, Orson Welles, and all that stuff. But what really got, of course, people interested in UFOs and, you know, little green men and Martians and all that stuff in this country would have been the War of the Worlds broadcast that Orson Welles did. And, you know, that's one of those things where he did that, and man, he had to go back and apologize and calm people down, because he used real life places like, you know, real life towns in New Jersey. People were panicking, and but what that done, that broadcast that night sowed a seed in people's minds. And then he comes along 1947, and Roswell, New Mexico happens. I think it was 1947. I'll get the correct date, put it on the screen if it's not. But either 47 or 48. I'm pretty sure it was 47. And of course, the thing that tripped off the trigger for Roswell, for it being a crashed UFO, for, you know, space debris being recovered, was the very first newspaper report, which stated that the RAAF had recovered a downed flying saucer. Now, what came from that was the media learned real quick that if you want to get your story out, you've got to do it quick, because the government at the same time was simultaneously learning we got to get ahead of this before it gets a chance to be put out into newspapers and sent out all over the country and all over the world. So you had then the next day someone from the military had this was a military person in the first interview. Let me back up and straighten that out. In the very first interview of the crashed weather balloon ship was that it was not of this world. The crash spread debris over a 1 mile over a field, and the first statement given was by a military officer, and it said, you know, of course, this was a flying saucer, because he didn't know what the material was that the, you know, debris was. They said it was like aluminum, but you could fold it up and it would retake its shape, like a memory metal is what they were calling it. But of course, then you had the government swoop in and say that this was in fact a weather balloon. So that several things came from that report. That was the first time that people started having real doubt in the government and what they said. It made the government look guilty. It made the government look like they were hiding something. It made the government look like they were covering something up. So people started getting a real distrust for the government. So subsequently, what would happen then is that you would get other UFO reports, and the 50s and 60s were littered with reports and sightings, and of course the whole time you have the government saying, you know, there's nothing to this. It's all they've used everything from weather balloons to swamp gas to people were just misidentifying planets to they covered the whole gambit of excuses. And the real question that people have always asked is, why the big cover-up? Well, the first big reason that I could think of for the cover-up is if you did in fact retrieve a downed UFO, then you would not want another country to try to stake claim to it to get the technology out of it that you're getting. And you know, we've talked before, I think we even talked about it on one of the real early rabbit hole shows about the advancement in technology. I mean, we went from 1899, 1900, from horse and buggies to the combustion engine. Now that wasn't a big, you know, leap, because you had people who were working in engineering that could do that. Where people draw trouble with the way technology advanced after that was you went from the combustion engine to fiber optics, computers, motherboards, now computers you hold in your hand. basically in less than 100 years. So when you think about how long it takes you to advance technology before that, because you got to think, there was still a time in this country when most people were reading their books by candlelight, because not everyone had electric, power. And in some places in the world, like in London and over in England, they were using gas lamps as street lights. They had someone to go around each night that would light them and then come back around each morning and put them out. So when you go from that to everything we see in the LED world today, you're doing all that in less than, well, with the light bulb it was less than a decade, but with all the other stuff, the LED, the fiber optics, all that, that's less than 100 years. So there are reasons that you would not want someone to have the ability to question why you have taken this crash spacecraft to reverse the technology. Because at the time, America had went, World War I had already happened, and as this was unfolding, World War II was bouncing, getting ready to pop off. So you had these people and their German, these German scientists who was defecting from Germany. They wanted to be away from Hitler. And of course, America was offering them, all of these perks to come into our country and work for our government. That's how we ended up with the atomic bomb. That's how we ended up with a lot of stuff. But there's stories now that have broken out that talks about the technology that the German scientists had way before we ever knew about it. So, yeah, I don't know, man. ETs have played a big part in American history, especially throughout the 20th century. And now into 25 years into the 21st century, things seem to be ramping up. It seems to be, getting more and more and more, reports of flying saucers or unidentified flying objects or unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs. They keep relabeling things, hoping that it will take people's mind off of it. But I tell you what, guys, I got to put a little go-go juice in Big Papa here. So y'all just hang tight a minute, and I'll be back in just a hot second. Oh, man, guys, what a beautiful day. But my phone says it's 58 degrees. But if you can see those flags right there blowing, we got a pretty good breeze blowing through here today. Not too bad, though. I know a lot of you new folks have been asking in different chats and stuff, what kind of bikes do I ride? If you're new here and you just found me, this is my 03 Fat Boy, Big Papa. He is kind of the crown and the jewel here at Rolling with T-Bone. Then, of course, if you go back to last week's video, you will find Jazz, my 2000 Road King. And then if you peel on back a little bit further, you will find my Pro Street custom chopper called the Joker. Tell you guys, just a bunch of stuff going on outside the UFO stuff. Vehicle trouble. I hate having vehicle trouble, but it's all part of owning them. You're gonna own them, you're gonna have to work on them and do stuff to them. But the way my truck went down kind of irritated me. Universal joint broke and it busted out the whole rear end on my transmission. The housing on the rear end, which can be replaced. I'm having to order the parts to do it. But I was just like, why couldn't it just been the universal joint and not busted the transmission? It clicked a little every now and then, but it wasn't like no loud clanks and bangs and stuff. So I was just going to limp it on through and put it in the shop for a couple of weeks and have several things done to it. But timing was off, everything was off. But anyway, well, that's not what we're here to talk about. But yeah, for you new folks, these are the bikes that I ride. And of course, you know, you've heard me in this episode talking about the UFO stuff. You hear me talking cryptids when you go back a couple episodes ago. You'll see my cryptid episodes. And then I am a host of Unchained Down the Rabbit Hole, where we talk about big construction work going on right here. They're getting ready to widen this road out. They're going to make a 4-lane to run. It runs north to south on Highway 5. So all this is getting turned into a 4-lane. Big project. Roundabouts. We're getting roundabouts, y'all. Georgia has fell in love with roundabouts. They're putting those things everywhere. But yeah, we just we do a little bit of everything here on Rolling with T-Bone. Of course, moto blogging is what brought us to the dance, so to speak. It was what we started the channel on. And of course, a little bit of history there. I started this channel on a 1984 Tour Glide called the Midnight Express. If you dig way back in the repertoire, you'll find it. And I've had several bikes on this channel. I've had 2 Dynas. I've had a V-Rod, a couple of Sportsters, a Springer, 93 Springer. So I'm a very eclectic man when it comes to motorcycles. I'm not, you know, I had a Honda Shadow. I like all my bikes. I like to just ride. I like something that I enjoy riding on. You know, sometimes you get on a bike and just not enjoy riding it at all, and I don't like that. I like to enjoy my bikes when I ride them. And that's basically all today is. It's just kind of like our last week's episode where I just kind of jabbered a little bit, but just wanted to talk to you guys about the ufology stuff, the UFO stuff, and see, you know, if you guys have responded so good to the cryptic stuff. And I've had a lot of people ask me about doing UFO stuff, paranormal stuff. You know, I'm not opposed to doing all that kind of stuff. It's all, you know, it's all cool stuff to me. I enjoy all of it. But yeah, so 2025, guys. I'm just you know, we're doing new stuff in 2025. We got the rabbit hole I mentioned there a minute ago, me and the retired rider John. You have to type in political rider to find the rabbit hole channel, but it's actually called Unchained Down the Rabbit Hole now, I think, unless we changed it since then. But you can find it. I'll try to remember to link it in the description on this video here if I can. I'm no good with links, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. I keep forgetting them. Even when I remind myself in editing, I like, okay, well, I've got to this point, I'll say, future T-Bone, do this. And future T-Bone gets caught up in editing and forgets to do anything. But, yeah. Oh, just out here riding in the back roads today, guys. Big new house built right here. Mason Tractor Company family built that one. But yeah, man, just motorcycle content, cryptic content, UFO content. We'll do a little bit of everything around here. But the rabbit hole, you know, we do the ufology stuff. I think unless something changed, last night's episode should have been UFOs. Of course, that's too far ahead for me to know for a fact, but it should be. It should be. That's just what I'll say about it. But the idea of doing a weekly show is easy for me right now because Sorry guys, my mask was rolling down in my face. It's easy for me because John pretty well much runs the channel. And of course me and Coy just have to show up, look good, and talk to him, and we discuss things. But John, he pretty well much is in control of the channel, and you know, making sure everything's the way it's supposed to be. If that was left to me, it wouldn't be. There wouldn't be no rabbit hole, because you know, 50 hours of work a week, you know, dealing with family stuff, trying to keep my channel here going, I just wouldn't have that kind of time for a second channel. John pretty well much makes it, you know, super easy for me to do. I just go ahead, sit down, talk for an hour, hour and a half each Sunday evening, and just, you know, we get to talk about cool stuff. But if it was left to me to do right now, it wouldn't be happening, because I just don't have the time to do all the behind the scenes work. And that's why I'm thankful that John, you know, John's retired and he's got time to sit back and, you know, move things around and switch things around. And we're sure, or I'm sure, I don't know that me and John has really got to talk to about it a lot, but you know, this thing will be evolving. It will, if we're doing it right, it will constantly be evolving. Things will be rotating if we're doing it right. You know, I know John has big plans for the channel. He does. You know, sometimes you have to, sometimes things change to make those plans come to fruition. You have to change things. You have to do different things. So that's kind of where we're at with that, but we'll see how it all plays out. I mean, nothing, one thing is for certain, nothing's ever set in stone. But you know, we want it to grow. We want it to become popular. We want to meet new people and hear new stories and be able to share new things. So that's all part of the growing up. And the rabbit hole will grow if we're doing it right. As I said before, if we're doing it right, it'll grow, it'll evolve, and that's what we want for it. We want it to be able to grow, evolve, and become something more than just, you know, just a place to hang out on Sunday night. So we want it to mean something. And I know there's people out there who will say they don't care if they have that for their channel or not, and that's fine for them. You know, bravo for them, excuse me. But for us, I think we kind of want, you know, we want it to be more than just nothing. You know, and you start with nothing and then you build from there. That's the way it works. And you constantly evolve and you grow, and you hope you're doing good when you're growing. But yeah, that's kind of what you want out of it, I guess. What I want out of it anyway. But yeah, man, that'll probably be within the next couple of weeks. Finishing up here, guys. The banana UFO in Alabama that Hooligan turned me on to will probably be coming in the next couple of weeks. That'll be a Rolling with T-Bone episode. So I am going to get to work on that. I've got several things I'm working on right now, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see which way that takes us. But I tell you what, guys, I'm going to say we got an episode shot here. I'm going to go ahead and call it a day and finish out this ride and just kind of be peaceful and quiet and enjoy the ride. It's beautiful scenery. Trees are kind of bare now, so I can see the distant mountains. But guys, until the next time, y'all to remember to like, comment, share, watch a few of my videos. If you like what you see, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. But until the next time, guys, y'all take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and hey, thanks for watching.